Hello, my name is Connor Duffy, Assistant Multimedia Editor of the Ithacan. I spoke with 3 Ithaca College students about the experiences of transfer students, and this is what they had to say.
My name is Annie Brady. I am a junior music education major. I am an RA for the transfer community in Terrace 11.
Well, my name is Preston Jones. I'm a sport media major, sophomore transfer student.
My name is Sam Castingway. My major is sociology, and I am in the class of 2018. I am an RA in Upper Terraces, and I transferred here 2 years ago after my freshman year at a different school.
So a transfer student is anyone with previous college experience. Most of the transfer students, I would say, come from usually like a year or a semester at another 4-year college.
I ended up transferring because I really didn't like the first institution I went to. I was really miserable there. It was a really big school in terms of what I considered big.
I think there are a lot of different reasons, and everyone has their own little story, and it's interesting to see when all the transfer students get together at the beginning of the year, how they can kind of swap stories.
I chose to transfer for a lot of different reasons. I was originally recruited for football, actually, and I had some scholarship money at my old school and realized that the experience I had there wasn't worth the money I was receiving.
But I think the biggest reasons are either for a major or a program that maybe you discovered your interest for it and your school doesn't have it, and then for more of the social environmental reasons where you just felt that is not the place for you. And I think those are the 2 major ones, but again, everyone has kind of their own interesting story of how they ended up where they are. In my experience, transfer students have this kind of long-lasting sense of just gratefulness for being able to come here and whatever kind of brought them this way. And I think that allows them, and it kind of forces them to break out their shell and try new things and join clubs. So I find that most transfer students get involved so quickly and they're so excited to be here, they just want to do everything. And I think that's a great quality, and it's one that I've seen in my residents from last year and my residents this year.
I think being a part of the football team has helped me a lot with that. Just being a part of an athletic team has helped a lot. Just the welcoming environment of Ithaca was nice, and I just think I made the right choice.
So socially, I think the biggest challenge was not knowing anybody, just like a freshman would, but understanding that there weren't as many people with the same experience, so sort of a struggle to find people who had experienced the same exact thing or understood where you were at.
Yeah, you kind of got to go through the whole process over again. You kind of had something going at your old school when you made friends and all that stuff. But you got to do that all over again.
Yeah, one of the other really important parts of my job is providing support to students who might be feeling that way, who might be feeling kind of isolated and left behind. Other students have had that kind of base of being together, and that's one of the great reasons that we have a transfer community, that you can have an RA that's kind of keen to those things and can follow up with students of concern.
I think what really helped me here socially was living on the transfer student floor. I originally wasn't even signed up in there because I thought it would hinder my ability to make friends at IC, and that was total garbage.
There's also the SHIFT program, which is supportive, helpful information for transfer students. That's a great it's a newsletter, and it gives mass resources to them on a regular basis. And then there's also the transfer seminar. When they come here, they're all put in the same seminar.
They do have a seminar specifically for transfer students. Speaking with some of my friends on the floor who were transfer students, a lot of them really didn't find it helpful. It usually is pretty repetitive because we know how to register for classes. We've done that before, so it's just learning a new system, and the faculty themselves typically can take care of that. But I would say the most helpful thing was the transfer student orientation and working one-on-one with faculty in our programs, because they really knew what they were talking about. So working with the faculty has been the major route that I've taken, and I know some other people have taken to get everything worked out. For example, when I was here for orientation, the faculty member who was responsible for my schedule just waved me into all of the classes that I needed to be in because none of my prereqs showed up on to Homer Connect, and all of the classes were full. They didn't reserve any spaces for transfer students, only for freshmen or first-year students. Most transfer students that I talk to end up having to take an extra semester or an extra year here.
The whole academic situation where sometimes your credits don't transfer, sometimes you have to do classes over again. I know with me, I had to take the same class over again because the credit at my old school didn't transfer here. So kind of just a mixture between the whole social life, just the experience plus the academics.
Transfer students do have a lot of frustrating moments with the registrar, definitely. The ICC, I know, is kind of a frustrating experience for some IC students. So for transfer students, they have their own theme. It's society and liberal arts. And that allows them to have a little bit more flexibility in what the ICC will take because they've already had all these credits at their previous institution. And then just in general, getting credit for a class that just to put on your transcript that you already took and you got a good grade in, but they're like, it's definitely a point of frustration for people.
You have to, meet all of the institution's requirements, which you typically do as a freshman. As a transfer student, it does feel like you're repeating your first year of college again. And it's awful because you want to feel like you're progressing, but it's kind of like taking a step back, and it really shouldn't be that way. But I've been called a freshman so many times, especially last year when it was my first year here. And that's kind of frustrating. We know what it's like to live at college. We know what it's like to take college-level classes. So when, we have to take certain classes that teach us how to be at college or teach us how to, learn at a college level, it's really frustrating. You know how to do these things, and your peers who are at the same academic level as you get to move on and learn other things, while it's basically like taking a step back when you transfer. I think some of the things that IC can do is just sort of be aware of when they're treating their transfer students like first-year college students, because it really is one of the most frustrating things to have to experience. Academically, I think it's very frustrating to have to jump through so many more hoops than normal students have to.
The only thing I can think of to improve on with transfers, and not necessarily socially or the environment or anything like that, but just the ICC, the integrated core curriculum for transfer students, was somewhat of a pain for me, just trying to get, because you have to meet certain requirements for that, and trying to get that situated was a little difficult.
Socially, I think it would be really nice if we sort of had a stronger community for transfer students. I know they've been trying to work on that. We're so busy trying to make up for the classes that we've missed, so overloading ourselves with a bunch of credits. But I think it's really up to the specific programs, whether it be honors or different scholarship programs or academic programs. I think just recognizing that not all of their students are new or operating under the same, past experience. So
I think the only thing that I can think of that Ithaca could do more for its transfer students is having more designated people as resources. So they have their RA, they have their transfer semester, their transfer seminar teacher. My only fear would be that once they're past kind of the first year here, that they lose some of that support system.
Thanks for listening. For more, find us at theithacan.org.